I definitely have a bit of a complex about this kind of stuff because of how I grew up. Always with my siblings getting what they asked for, while I rarely did, and generally feeling like I never get my turn at things. So it'll be helpful to know if I'm justified or overreacting. My boyfriend and I have been dating for 10 months, and it was my birthday yesterday. I put a lot of effort into birthdays, including his, and was excited about it for the last month or so. There's a local bakery that makes a really good-looking pineapple upside-down cake. I've been really wanting to try it and have been saving it for my birthday. About a month in advance, I told him my birthday was coming up and gave him a few activity ideas. I told him that I didn't need a gift, but I really wanted a pineapple upside-down cake from XYZ Bakery. He said, "Sure." Now, I know this was probably annoying, but I did mention this specific cake several times. Even before last month, we would drive by this bakery and I'd say, "Oh, hey, that's the place with the pineapple cake. I want to do that for my birthday." I wasn't deliberately hammering the point home or anything, or aware that it would end in a cake-centered conflict. Still, there were a couple of occasions where it came up. And then, a week before my birthday, I texted him a reminder about the cake so he'd have the bakery info on hand. Yesterday rolled around, and my boyfriend came over to my apartment and gave me a gift, which is a Kindle. Not a bad gift, and I know they're expensive, but not something particularly relevant to me either. Then he says, "Let's have cake and presents," when you all know by now it's not the pineapple upside down cake, but just a regular grocery store cake with frosting balloons. Vanilla cake with vanilla buttercream. You guys, I was legitimately sad. If I knew he would drop the ball on this, I would have just gotten myself a pineapple cake months ago instead of waiting. I was on the verge of tears because I didn't get the one thing I wanted, which was the stupid cake. So I told him I was very disappointed and that he should just go home. He said, "I didn't realize it was so important. It's just a cake." He also said he had 2 tickets to a comedy show for that night, and one went to waste. Now he's annoyed because it is, of course, just a cake, and he wants me to reimburse the cost of the wasted ticket. It was only about $30, but I bristled at the principal and said I didn't owe him the money. He sent me a Venmo request for $30. Am I the idiot if I don't pay? Not the idiot. You didn't hint. You flat out told him what you wanted, and he ignored it. It's about him not listening to you or not caring about making your birthday what you wanted. It's your birthday. You shouldn't have to put on a happy face and go to a comedy show to appease the feelings of the person who hurt your feelings. And you definitely shouldn't have to reimburse him for the tickets when it was his fault you were too upset to go. Guys, girls are so confusing. Why can't they just say what they're thinking? We don't read minds. Girls, I'd love a pineapple upside down cake for my birthday. Literally, just the cake would make me so happy. I'm saving the opportunity to try it for my birthday. Please get me that specific cake that I want for my birthday. Guys, gets girl anything but the cake. Girl, cries out of frustration. Guy, you need to calm down. I don't understand why you're upset. This entire story pains me. At this point, it isn't about the cake. It's about you. Yeah, forget all the cake stuff. The idiot opportunity was the comedy show. Presumably, this was also a gift to you as it was an event for your birthday. If you didn't want to go because he messed up your cake, or because you're not in a funny mood, or because you'd rather do something else, you can. When someone gifts tickets to an event, the gift is the choice to go for free, not the obligation to attend. Unless his middle name is Ticketmaster, I wouldn't expect to be hit with an erroneous, "I feel disappointed on my not birthday fee" on that ticket stub. And it sounds like he went without her with the "one of the tickets went to waste." So he still went? He only got those tickets because he wanted to go. OP, let him eat his $30 and spend that money on an upside-down pineapple cake and make a wish for a better boyfriend, because this guy isn't bringing any redeeming qualities to the table. Happy belated birthday. My 24 male father, 61, has always been a severe workaholic to the extent that it affected his parenting skills. He's a mechanic and owns a small shop that he's probably spent more time at than any other location on earth. The man exists to work and never enjoys anything else. He works on average 65 hours a week, usually 7 days a week. We aren't and never really were hurting for money, so it's not like he was putting in the extra hours to keep us fed. The man didn't care if it was a special day. He's missed most holidays, most of my and my siblings' birthdays, and most of his and my mom's anniversaries. To give you an idea, here's one memory I had of Christmas when I was like 14. The shop was closed, obviously, because it was Christmas, and it would be closed the next day as well. Dad insisted that he needed to do inventory instead of the day after because of reasons. So instead of spending Christmas with his family, he spent it alone in his shop, logging parts. He insisted we get jobs as soon as it was legal for us to do so. And even before that, he would drag us down the street to ask the neighbors if they needed us to do anything. My state staggers the max hours for kids by year, so his birthday present for us was to remind us to tell our bosses to give us more hours. I'll be honest, I'm distant from him. He never showed affection to us or paid attention unless it was to give us work. The man has no friends, no hobbies, and no interest besides work and sleep. I don't know why he bothered having 3 kids. I don't know how mom got him to have intimacy with her. Well, the years caught up to him, hard, a month ago. He blew his back out, and the doctors told him he's screwed. So now he's stuck at home, trying to recover enough to work part-time. He's driving my mom and younger sister insane because he's bored, but doesn't know how to entertain himself besides working. So he complains about stuff around the house, tries to fix it, and then makes one of them do it when he can't because of his injury. So when I came to visit, I talked with him after he said he didn't know what to do. I basically said, look, you did nothing but work for 40 years straight, and you never had fun. What did you expect? This is what happens when you try to work yourself to death. Sometimes you don't die in time. So now you have to stop bothering mom and sis and find something fun to do because I don't pity you. He got angry at me, so I left soon after. Now I worried that I was too harsh and was taking out my frustration on him. Not the idiot. Time to grow up, Dad. Dad was emotionally absent. Being physically present, but emotionally unavailable, is called proximal abandonment, and it's considered abuse because it really messes with a kid's psyche. So Dad emotionally abandoned his kids their entire lives. Now that he's injured and can't continue being absent, he wants them to make him feel better? Nope, idiot move. Everyone's the idiot here. Obviously, your dad for being absent, but you for kicking your dad when he's down. Why was he such a workaholic? Did he grow up poor? Did his father treat him worse than he treated you? Is workaholism his way of avoiding trauma? Addictions and compulsions usually come from somewhere. It's valid to be angry that he was a bad parent, but if you truly want him to see the light now, compassion usually works better than judgment. Yeah, kids don't necessarily know and shouldn't know the financial status of their parents. You were never hurting for money. Maybe the exact reason for that was the amount of work he did. My dad worked hard for years to provide a good life for our family of 6, usually left Monday morning for the city and often slept at the office and returned Friday evening to run our farm during the weekend. This was the norm until he had a major burnout, fell into depression and alcoholism, and became distant. After that, his company went bankrupt, and we had to cut out a lot of things. He's currently hospitalized with end-of-life care for cancer. My anger is directed solely at the unhealthy expectations our society has set for work life and success since the 80s. I, nearly adult female, am in a class with my friend, Hannah, also female and my age. Hannah is a lesbian with zero interest or attraction to men at all. The other day, Hannah was homesick, and the guy next to me, Mason, a teen, approached me about Hannah. We talked a little before, and we're kind of friends. He asked a bunch of weird questions. Nothing too personal, just about her hobbies and interests. Does she play sports? Is she in any clubs? Stuff like that. I gave vague but honest answers. Then he asked if she was single, and I caught on. I had a moment of mini panic. Hannah doesn't try to hide she's into girls, but she isn't open about it either. I didn't want to out her, but I didn't want her to have to deal with this rando. So I just told him he's definitely not her type. The bell rang, so we both went to our next classes, and I hoped he took the hint. Spoiler alert, he didn't. Today, while students were still milling around before class, he knelt and asked her to go out to the movies this Saturday. The whole class went silent momentarily before she said, "No, sorry, I'm not interested." Mason, "But why? I'm a great guy." "I swear, it'll be a good time. I promise." Hannah, "Mason, you know I'm a lesbian, right?" The whole class laughs, and Mason sulks back to his seat. He started crying and sat down, and that's when class started. After class, Mason approached me and told me that I was an idiot for not warning him that she was a lesbian, that if he'd known, he wouldn't have asked her out. Another kid, Mason's close friend, came up to us to back Mason up. At first, I was sure I was right, but now I'm not so sure. Am I the idiot? Not the idiot. You told him he wasn't her type, which was an appropriate balance between warning him she was likely to say no and respecting her privacy. He was just lashing out because he was embarrassed and wanted someone to blame, which is very immature. Do get down on one knee to ask out someone? He wasn't even close enough to know her preference. Pretty sure immature is about as nice as you can describe him, LOL. I mean, he is a teenager, so immaturity is a given. You were careful not to out Hannah, and you did stress she wasn't his type. Not your fault for his ignoring that and bulldozing ahead with asking her out. You tried to be diplomatic, but Mason wasn't taking the hint. Mason got embarrassed. Sucks for Mason. But why? I'm a great guy. A guy that probably isn't a great guy. Cringy's approach aside, she said no. That was his out to escape an embarrassing situation before it escalated and respect a classmate's boundaries. You guys are a couple of years from adulthood. His stupid behavior doesn't fly as an adult, especially when he pairs it with playing the victim, banking on the fact that the person will feel obligated to say yes because they're trying to be kind and not reject someone publicly or embarrass them. It's manipulative. That's a little harsh. I mean, he might be putting it on, but he also might just be a teenager with big emotions. Most teenagers are manipulative without malicious planning, like sociopaths. This kid might just be rom-com trained to believe that the big romantic date proposal is what every girl wants. He felt humiliated to tears when he was shot down by real life in the form of a real-world teenage girl. In high school, I was friends with a popular girl, Madison. I am not a nice guy, and we were honestly friends. She was out of my league, and I never had any thoughts about a relationship with her. We remained friends when I went away to university, and I was happy for her when she got married. I work for a tech company now. They provide some cool stuff for their employees. Our cafeteria is free and open 24 hours a day, so we can eat all our meals there if we want. They have a nutritionist that makes sure the meals are tasty and healthy. I take advantage of the food fairly regularly, but still keep food at my apartment and make myself meals I learned how to make from my dad. And I keep Fruit Loops, which the cafeteria doesn't stock. 5 weeks ago, Madison left her husband and asked if she could stay with me while figuring things out. I agreed, since I have a spare room and we're friends. It was more a temporary thing. She has a job, and I think she has access to a joint account with her husband. I thought she'd be here for a couple of weeks, then go to her folks or settle her problems with her husband. Instead, she's been in my house other than to work. She ate all my food in the fridge and pantry. I went grocery shopping once so far, but she ate everything again and didn't offer to pay to replace it. I asked her when she would be moving on, but she said she didn't know. I asked her for some money for groceries, and she said she hadn't been paid. It's been 5 weeks. No one holds back wages that long. So last week, instead of going to Whole Foods, I just started eating all my meals at work or at a restaurant on the way home. She asked me when I was going shopping, but I said I was too busy with work. She offered to go shopping for us if I gave her the money. I said I was too busy to cook food at home. She says I'm an idiot for trying to use food to control her or too cheap to help her out. She thinks I'm trying to be with her. I'm already not charging her rent. She's still beautiful, but I'm seeing a side of her I never saw before. Not the idiot, but you need to get her out of your house. This has the potential to go sideways really badly. Maybe I'm just a pessimist, but it sounds like she thinks you're a better meal ticket, both figuratively and literally, than her husband. I hope I'm wrong. Yeah, I don't see why you aren't communicating this with her. I have no romantic interest in you. I'm not going to support you financially, other than providing a temporary place to stay. It's time for you to find another place to stay. You have until X date to move out. It seems like she's using you. OP, you have a right to keep food in your house as you want. She's being ridiculous. She doesn't have money for any groceries. If I was in her position, not paying rent and staying with a friend, I'd be paying for all the groceries and treats as a thank you. You are not trying to control her with food. If she can't afford food, then she needs to handle that herself. Dude, have some self-respect. This is your house. You are the functioning adult helping someone in trouble. There is zero reason not to clearly set expectations and impose responsibilities in exchange for your generosity. It may have seemed that she was better than you based on high school superficiality, but now in the real world, she should hold no special power over you. So one of my male 32 friends, male 28, from law school, just got married. At the wedding, I caught up with another law school friend, male 26, who moved from Toronto, our hometown, to Quebec City last October. Since his move, he has not been back till the wedding, when he came back for 2 weeks. I asked him how often he plans to return going forward, and he said, maybe once a year. I don't know. Now, I thought this was ridiculous. He needs to come back and see his parents more often, like at least once a month, even for a few days. Toronto and Quebec City are like 9 hours away, and he has the flexibility to work from home. He also has the income to afford this. He just makes it harder on himself by refusing to buy a car. He took the train back here. If he lives in Vancouver or something, I'd get it. Flying back once a year may make sense due to cost, but even then, I'd say do twice a year. He also said that he's trying to integrate and establish a life there, and that coming back always would get in the way. Then he calls home every day. But I pointed out that that's not the same. And again, he's pretty close. He should see his parents. You don't know how long they'll be around. And by the way, I'm not a hypocrite. I live 9 hours away due to work and drive back to my parents every other weekend. The rest of our law school friend group agreed. Well, not sure about the groom, since he wasn't at our table, of course, but others sided with me. But he got annoyed and told us as much. Am I the idiot? You are the idiot. You're being incredibly judgy, nosy, and not respecting basic common decency and boundaries. You have zero understanding of his relationship with his parents, even behind closed doors. For all you know, they could be emotionally abusive, and he's using distance to help keep himself safe. How often someone else visits their parents is literally none of your business. It's really weird to feel like this is something you should get a say in when it has nothing to do with you. Focus on your own relationships and let him and his wife focus on theirs. Get off that high horse you've put yourself on and apologize for being an idiot. I think the OP has no friends or life where he lives and justifies it to himself as being a good son by seeing his family twice a month. There's no way I'd travel 18 hours in a car twice a month to visit my parents. The OP must be detached from the place he lives now. Why didn't he stay in his hometown? Just because you make the long journey to see your parents twice a month That's a lot. Doesn't mean he has to. What the heck? Let him live his life. An 18 hours round trip of traveling that frequently? That's insane, LOL. I'm impressed by your friend. He showed great restraint by not telling you to shut up and mind your own business. But if I were him, I would no longer consider such a busybody as my friend.